Hi, Christine Harvell from Century 21 in Lake Harmony, Pennsylvania. I'm going to be doing some videos to help people gain more insight and understanding when they're talking about getting into the real estate market here in the Pocono Mountains. I've been licensed here since 2000. I actually got my license 10 months before the September 11th attack. And so I had just learned how to do all the things that I needed to learn to do, and all the rules and regulations and the areas and all the various aspects of the real estate market. And then boom, the September 11th attack hit, and everything just went crazy. So the first thing I want to start off with is all of the places that are considered more rural and not city-like or high-density housing are places that are highly sought after across the country. And that is because having a deadly virus has shown people that when you live in high-density housing places, you have more chance of becoming infected or affected by a virus. So naturally, people want to come places that are more quiet, less densely populated, more rural, because you have more space in between you and other people. You're not in an apartment building, you're not sharing common spaces. So that's why we are so popular here in the Pocono Mountains now more than ever. Before, we used to just be a vacation resort area. People would come here on the weekends. There's something to do here all year long, whether you're skiing or shopping or going to the casino or going to the lake or nature hikes and the mountain trails. No matter what it is, there's something here for everyone who comes from New York, New Jersey, or Philadelphia to come and refresh and vacation. But now it's a little bit different. Now the Pocono Mountains is kind of being looked at much the same idea as like a bomb shelter. People want a place to escape to if and when the next pandemic hits. This has really shaken a lot of people and has really changed all of our lives in one way or another. Many people work from home now. They homeschool their children. They've really thought about things in a whole different light because of the virus. But when push comes to shove, this is basic economics. We are not reinventing the wheel here in the Pocono Mountain real estate market. What is happening is we have a high demand and a low supply, and that is driving the prices up. So the first thing that I want to talk about is if you are a full-time rental tenant and you find yourself having your house that you rent going up for sale. While this is not ideal because there aren't many options for people to find a new full-time rental property, that is just what is happening. People who are ready to sell their property and who no longer want to be a landlord, because it is not for the faint at heart. I speak from personal experience. I've been a landlord for 20 years, and I myself am also ready to be done. I've been selling off my rental properties for the last year. I don't want to do it anymore. It's a lot of upkeep and very little reward. The second classification of people are people who are reverting their long-term rentals to short-term rentals for vacation rental, VRBO, Airbnb, all that kind of stuff, which is also not for the faint at heart. You're turning your house over every weekend, you need a crew. It's not allowed in many places that people are still operating them anyway, but the fines and the hassle is not worth the trouble if you're going to try and operate an Airbnb in a place that it is not allowed. You're gonna run into a lot of trouble. Also, we have lots of snow. This winter is a real indication of all of the upkeep that has to be done from a landlord's point of view to keep the snow and ice and whatnot from being a problem to the tenant or the general public. So anyway, These are some problems that we are having, and everyone wants to buy a place here, be it for their personal use or for their commercial use. They want to be a landlord, any of that kind of stuff. But unfortunately, the deals are not to be had. There just aren't any great deals out there, cheap houses. You get what you pay for. Now, if you find a house for under 100,000, unless you have a crew of your own to do all the work, you're going to be finding yourself making a much bigger investment to put the house back together. If you're thinking of building a home, the price per square foot is astronomical right now. And you can't just build on any old lot. You have to do a lot of prep work in order to build a place, like well and septic, doing different kinds of tests and surveys to make that happen, which can also be very, very expensive. So what am I trying to tell you? Because I'm rambling now at this point. There's so many things that I want to share with the general public. The most important thing to know is that this is a seller's market, and it is not going to change anytime soon. Everything isn't going to fall out from under us like happened after the September 11th attack. This is a much more permanent situation because this has been a much more traumatic and long-term incidents, and it won't disappear from people's memory anytime soon. When we got hit with the September 11th attack, people fled from New York, New Jersey. They came to the Poconos because they could keep their jobs and commute. After 8-10 years of that got really old because the commute is really brutal during winter especially, but in traffic and things of that nature. After 8 or 10 years, when people started to feel more safe, they all wanted to go back to New York and New Jersey, and they all tried to sell their homes at the same time, which is really what tanked our market. They bought in a high market. 10 years later, they tried to sell. They couldn't sell it for what they bought it for, and everything fell out from under them. This time is a little different. This time is I think people are going to keep their homes here as a backup in case this ever happens again. And also, hey, the visions of seeing refrigerated trucks full of dead bodies and losing loved ones when you can't be with them in the hospital while they're dying is something that has really scarred people for life. And so coming to the Poconos, having a house here as like an insurance policy kind of thing, as a plan B, is something that really is probably going to keep them keeping their homes for a very long time to come. So if you are trying to find a house in the Pocono area right now, please do yourself a favor. Get a buyer's agent. Get one agent who's going to keep you on their radar, who's going to look for properties and alert you to properties that fit your criteria. Please do not think that if you call the listing agent that they're going to make it happen for you. I know that it is the natural order of things that people want to call the listing agent because they figure, hey, the listing agent is going to want to sell their own property so they make twice the commission. And while that is absolutely true, it is also true that whenever a listing agent lists a property, they've already got 3 or 4 of their own customers that they could call to let them know that this property is available. And the thing about it is they're representing the seller at all times. You can't have an agent truly represent the buyer and the seller at the same time. It's just not possible. Yes, it is legal to have something called dual agency, where it's the same agent for the buyer and the same agent for the seller. But if an agent is really doing that the way that they're supposed to, their lips are supposed to be sealed. They're not supposed to give any advice or counsel or advocate for either party. They're truly a glorified messenger. Buyer says this, they tell the seller. Seller says this, they tell the buyer. And they're not supposed to give either party an edge. They're supposed to really just be a messenger. But we all know that that doesn't actually happen. We all know that when you're working with an agent, they're there to help you. They're going to tell you things that you need to know. They're going to give you advice. They're going to counsel you. But if they're the same agent for the buyer and the seller, they're not supposed to. So I know that you want to call someone because you figure that's the best way to get the deal. And you are right to a degree, because unfortunately, the motivation is that that agent will collect both sides of the commission. But if you want to really make sure that you are being represented and that you are not being told anything that's not true, or that you're not being compromised in any way, find one agent who's going to work for you across the board for any property that might become available, and have them, work for you. Have them be your agent. Don't call 20 different agents every time you see a new listing and call that listing agent. First of all, no one's going to get to know you. No one's going to get to understand what you really want. And second of all, no one's going to actually represent you. No one's going to do their job to the best of their ability for you and you alone. So it's a personal thing. You have to click with that person. Please find someone and work with them exclusively. It will work out better for everyone, the buyers and the sellers alike, if you do it that way. So I wish you lots of luck. I'm going to be doing many videos about different aspects of Pocono Mountain real estate in the near future. And please, if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Take care.